Hi, hello and welcome to Acast Podcast Upfronts. I'm Georgie Holt, the UK and Ireland Managing Director of Acast, and this is Josh Woodhouse, our UK Director of Sales. Say hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh.
It's the end of the day, guys. You've stuck with us this long.
Indeed.
Today you'll be hearing from some of our best loved podcasters on the Acast Creator Network. We're so delighted to be welcoming Fearne Cotton and Love Island's Anna Vakili and her sister Mandy, who'll be speaking to Acast Clarissa Pabby about all things that make podcasting so special, and also what a great place it is for advertisers to make a really meaningful and genuine impact with audiences. Before that though, Josh and I, we're going to take a few minutes to talk to you about the most exciting 12 months I think Acast has ever had, and what we're doing to continue to drive a thriving creator economy for podcasts and making sure that the work we do with advertisers continues to make that really meaningful impact with audiences. So Josh, it's been a whirlwind 12 months.
That it has.
It really has. We have done and achieved so much, and I'd love to know what some of your standout moments are from the last 12 months.
Just some of my standout moments.
some,
I mean, there have been so many. But if I had to choose, and given the fact that we are a creator-first business, and of course, without our creators, there would be no podcast.
True.
And with no podcast, there would be no Acast.
That'd be terrible.
A terrible shame for the world. So I must actually dedicate my standout moment to a double content coup just last month that we announced, which was obviously the signing of the fabulous and quite frankly beautiful Fearne Cotton, who this is terrifying because she's literally stood in eye shot. But of course, the Happy Place podcast, absolutely thrilled to be signing that show. And then of course one of your favourites as well,
Yep.
Deborah Francis White's The Guilty Feminist.
Love that. Yep.
Two powerful women leading the way, and we absolutely love it. However,
love it.
I think I know what your highlight is from the last year.
Really?
Indeed. If you cast your mind back just a couple of weeks,
Okay.
Wembley Stadium,
Yep.
12,000 people, one of the largest podcasts in the UK, live and direct, Shag Married Annoyed.
It was amazing, but I do feel like I need to make a public apology for my awful singing and dancing. I just got lost in the moment.
You know
It was
I'm here for
incredible.
that. You know I'm here for that.
And on top of all this, we IPO'd as well this year,
did.
which was an incredible moment for all of us. And I kind of wanted to circle back on what you were saying about our creator-first approach with our podcasters. And we believe at Acast that every single podcaster should be able to be fairly rewarded for their work and monetize their craft. So whether that's from advertising, branded content, or subscription with Acast Plus. And we are just relentless supporters of the open podcasting ecosystem. And it is that whole approach which made podcasting so loved in the first place. It's because people can listen wherever they want, whenever they want, on whatever platform they want to listen to, so they can enjoy their favourite podcast everywhere. And we believe it is absolutely the best way for podcasters and advertisers alike to reach those huge audiences without shutting out any of the addressable market. It also means that the audiences belong entirely to the creator. So they belong to the podcaster or the publisher or the network. And that is just so important. And it's because of this approach that we have paid out an incredible $100 million since we launched to creators. And that is more than any podcast management platform. And we absolutely believe that Acast approach is the most sustainable way to drive a flourishing and thriving podcast landscape and creator economy, and it's going to just continue to supercharge the growth that we have seen year over year.
Indeed.
So I think it's time to bring us home, Josh, if that's all right. So
Yeah, of course.
What can we expect over the next 12 months?
Well, listen, over the next 12 months, innovation's key for us here at Acast, and I think one of the most exciting ad products that we've got coming out to market is something which harnesses the pure power of podcasting, which is, of course, the creator's ability to communicate with their audiences direct. And I think something that we've pioneered at the moment is something called conversational targeting. Now, due to the nature of podcasting in its very spoken word nature, conversational targeting essentially is the oldest form of human connection, and human connection has never been more important, especially coming off the back of a torrid year or a couple of years rather within COVID. So what we're now allowing our advertisers to do is supercharge those host reads by introducing something we are calling dynamic sponsorships.
Amazing.
Are you interested to know more?
I always am.
Of course you are, you all are. So essentially what that is working with our wonderful friends at A Million Ads to be able to harness the power of dynamic copy insertion. So whether you're located in a different area around the UK or listening on a specific device, we can tailor that creative utilising the same powerful voices, and the response from our creators has been amazing. They are so open to doing this, so up for it, and that's why we love working in the industry.
Amazing. And I think there's some stuff coming up as well that you'd like to share about measurement, is that right?
Oh, the measurement-shaped elephant in the room. I owe you 50 quid.
Yeah, you do.
Excellent. Of course, measurement is incredibly important. It's always been a little bit of an eek topic, but essentially we at Acast have heard your cries, and we have 2 brand new updates for you. The first being a partnership with Nielsen to offer credible and accountable brand uplift studies. Very, very important. However, the groundbreaking update today is a brand new partnership with the likes of Podsights, who are a pixel attribution measurement company based in the US. So for the very first time here in the UK, you will be able to track the likes of site traffic, lead generation, and indeed the all-important acquisition. So addressing the camera direct, there you are. For any of my performance teams out there, DR clients, the Acast Creator Network is ready for you.
Love that, Josh.
Who wouldn't?
I always want to see measurement-shaped elephants.
Absolutely.
Every time. Every time. But I really genuinely think that is enough from us, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Please. Let's go on to the Real Wheels, and you are all here, and take a look at some of the most exciting shows coming up on the Acast Creator Network, as well as our really, truly loved classics that continue to generate huge audiences every single day across the Acast network. We're also so excited to hear from Fearne, Anna and Mandy. But kicking things off, I think we've got a surprise caller.
Do we?
Yeah, roll VT.
Podcast, talk to me. This is TOWIE Tips. Now listen, Acast. I got a podcast. Want to make some money with a podcast? Can you help? I heard you can. I heard Acast is the best place to take a podcast. Make some podcast cash. Pod fast. What do you say? Huh? Sound like a plan? Because let me tell you, this podcast I got, it's got Acast written all over it. It's this guy, right? Wears a bubbly hat, calls people up on the telephone, does funny voices. Phone jacket, I call him. What do you reckon, huh? The all-new Phone Jacket podcast on Acast. How's that sound? Beautiful. I'll be right there, darling. Got a dash. Mustn't keep the ladies waiting. It's TOWIE Tips. Have a think. Call me back. Thank you. Good night. Much love.
The astounding breadth of podcasts that we're afforded the opportunity to work with at Acast never ceases to amaze me, and I'm delighted to be joined by some of the people behind these amazing podcasts today. My name is Clarissa Pabby. I'm Senior Content Development Manager at Acast, and when I'm not speaking to our incredible sales team, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to podcasters, and I'm dreaming up new ideas for podcasts that resonate with listeners and advertisers alike. Today, we're going to be speaking to some Acast Creator Network podcasters about what makes podcasting such a special medium and how advertisers can make the most of this. So first, we have the amazing, the inimitable, first of her name podcasting queen, host of the Happy Place podcast, the Fearne Cotton.
Oh, the Clarissa, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have 2 icons, sisters, Love Island and Instagram's finest, Anna and Mandy Vakili, multiple degrees between them, hosts of the hilarious and unfiltered Sisters in the City podcast.
Thank you. We're so excited.
So excited.
Love it. Well, I mean, you guys are like, you know, the pros at the podcast intro. So like, how was that? Was that okay?
I mean, it was too good, quite frankly. Yeah, it was. I have to live up to that now. It's too much. It's an anticlimax, if anything. Now, sorry.
I love it. Well, what I think is really interesting is, you know, you all come from disparate backgrounds, you know, TV, broadcast, social media. You're speaking to entirely different audiences, but you all have something in common in that you found something in podcasting, something that you haven't found elsewhere. So first of all, I have to say congratulations, Fearne. I mean, Happy Place is one of the most successful podcasts in the UK, 40 million listens to date. You've just been crowned podcasting champion at the British Podcast Awards. What does podcasting mean to you?
I think it means, if I can sum it up really quickly, it's freedom. And I think you don't get this sort of freedom in other areas of broadcasting because you're sort of trying to fit into an infrastructure that's existing, whether it's radio or TV. Whereas with podcasting, you can just breathe and do what you want. And that, after 20 odd years of broadcasting in a sort of traditional sense, felt like just beyond liberating.
I love that. And I, just to kind of pick up on, I guess, you know, as you said, the freedom and the fact that there's actually opportunities to have different kinds of conversations that you maybe can't have in that infrastructure. Do you see podcasts as sort of the medium where you can have conversations that you don't often hear in other forms of media?
I mean, without a doubt. If I even give you the example of like when I was doing radio, you'd get to interview amazing people, but it would probably be in the space of about 8 minutes with a song in between. And you can't necessarily reach that sweet spot of getting someone and sort of allowing them to feel chilled out enough to open up to you. Whereas, you know, with my podcast, it's about an hour-long interview, and there's usually a beautiful sweet spot, maybe 15, 20 minutes in, where we both just sort of relax, and you hopefully at that point meet someone heart to heart, rather than it being you've turned up with all your baggage and the stuff you're thinking about and the stuff they're thinking about. And you have a real beautiful meeting of minds and hearts. And that's, you know, the joy of podcasting for me. I love it every time I do an episode.
We love it too. Thank you so much for doing the episodes. And I think one of the things that is so brilliant is, you know, I know listening to your podcast, you're an absolute consummate listener. You're so receptive. And as you say, it's about kind of creating that space to sort of really empower, I think, people to share their stories.
Yeah.
Anna and Mandy, you, well, you know, you're sort of the latest Acast podcasters, and we're so thrilled to be working with you. You have a combined 1.5 million followers on Instagram and a huge sort of following on social media, growing YouTube channel. Given you have these sort of established platforms, what is it that sort of has brought you to podcasting? What's attracted you to sort of want to make a podcast, and what is it you can do in podcasting that you can't do, say, maybe on some of those more visual platforms?
I just feel like Instagram, especially, is such a visual platform, and it's such a comparative platform where everyone's always comparing their lives, their looks, their lifestyle. And I think podcasts give more a sense of unity where people don't feel so divided, people can relate to you, and you can basically communicate better with people in that way.
I think you can build a more like intense relationship with the people that listen to you, and like they get to know you more rather than just seeing what you're wearing on an outfit on holiday, or like, you know, it's a place where people can feel good as well. And it's just natural conversations rather than like more like scripted, or like Instagram stories can almost sometimes feel like, oh, it's repetitive, same thing, you just start clicking through it. Whereas podcasts, it's like, it's going to be natural conversations that we would have in your room or in the living room over a glass of wine, do you know what I mean? So it just feels more real.
Yeah, I hear that. And I think also, you know, in terms of what you're talking about, people having more of an opportunity to connect with you also as podcasters, and people really value that. Would you say that?
I feel like with podcasts, you can just like, you have more opportunity to listen to them because you could be cooking, you could be going for a run, and you'll be listening to the podcast. So it's not just limited to having to sit down and go on your phone or be on your laptop. So you can just do it like multifunction, like you can do it doing anything.
I think it has a real good feel-good factor to it as well. Whereas Instagram, you can come off it not feeling that good about yourself. Whereas after listening to a podcast, you just feel like you can relate more.
100%. it's been such a joy to work with you in developing Sisters in the City. I wondered if you could give everyone, including Fearne here today, a little bit of a sneak peek about what people can expect from you both and the podcast.
Well, our podcast is going to be very much what our natural conversations are like, because I feel like that's where people are going to get to know the real us. Like, for example, it's going to be like this morning, Mandy woke up and she was trying to make her coffee. And like, I'm there talking about first thing in the morning. I watched 365 Days last night and I'm talking to her about giving head, sex, all this stuff. And she's like, she didn't even put her...
My eyes were literally half closed. And then I literally put my coffee caps on the machine. I turned it on and just forgot to put the cups. So just running all over the kitchen counter. And she's like, Mandy, I just don't like going on top. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I don't like, I can't give head when... And I'm like, okay, like, it was cool. She's like, I thought she had something really serious to talk about this.
It sounds very serious.
She was sitting there in deep thought, like, Mandy, we need to talk. I thought it was going to be about the podcast, yeah, but no.
Because like, what happens when you're dating a guy that always wants you on top? It's like...
I refuse.
You set a boundary, you say, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
I have a really good way of like getting out of it, actually. But I think I should say it for the podcast.
Yeah, she gave me a little tip. She gave me a tip. But yeah, basically, it's going to be stuff like that, natural things that happen in our day-to-day, because we have quite crazy lives. And it's just going to be basically stuff that girls and guys can relate to, hopefully. And have a laugh.
Yeah. We've had a lot of experiences, like before Anna went on Love Island, we came from like a very normal family, like working class. We worked very hard, we studied, and we just want to share our experiences with everyone in everything, family, our culture, our relationship with each other.
Growing up as Middle Eastern.
The pressures on us, like, and our family.
It's going to be a mix of things.
Mix of everything.
100%.
I'm in.
Yeah. I love that. First follower, first subscriber.
Yeah, I'm going to live vicariously through you, is what I'm going to do.
I love it. I think the definition of hilarious and unfiltered. So thank you for that. I think people often think about podcasting as a solitary activity. It's podcasters with a mic. It's that unmediated connection you have with the listener. But I think you all know, and particularly you, Fearne, about the power of podcasts to really build community and engage with community. So I kind of want to get into that. You've built what I think can only be described as a transmedia brand with Happy Place, in that you've translated the brand into multiple different media formats. It's amazing. You've got the books, the festivals, the products. Can you talk to us a little bit about the amazing community you've built with Happy Place and why it's been really important to you to have all these kind of different touch points for your community to sort of engage with Happy Place?
Yeah, I think, we've sort of grown the brand because of that, because, not everybody's going to like reading books, or you might not reach, my audience will be limited to an extent with the podcast, but if you start moving into other areas, and collaboration is key. So when we're doing the festival, that's all about collaboration, bringing in different voices from different backgrounds with different life experiences that will then help broaden the community, because that for me is the key of, the sort of the richness of what Happy Place is feeling a connection to other people. And we've needed that more than ever this last 18 months, feeling like we are, very sort of living in solitary confinement at times if we're on our own. And I think, it's as simple as somebody sharing their experience or a problem they have. It could be me, it might be my guests, to allow someone else to not feel ostracised, alienated, or just like they're, like for me, for instance, if I was going through a sort of period of having panic attacks, I would feel completely alone, like there was something wrong with me, it's just me having this. And as soon as you say that out loud, there's obviously an instant sort of community building situation where people go, oh no, that's me as well. And that lessens the load for everybody. So we're continually looking for new ways to do that, to reach people, to broaden the conversation, to talk about new varying, solutions in the sort of wellbeing, mental health space, but also the problems, so we can then find the solutions. So that drives us constantly to expand the brand.
I love that. And I think that it's really linked actually to, I think, something that, Josh and Georgie mentioned, previously, in that, we really believe in the open podcast ecosystem at Acast. We believe in allowing creators and advertisers to reach the maximum number of people. And so much of that is about accessibility. And I guess when you think about something like Happy Place, you're having these really wide-ranging conversations available to as many people, as possible. Can you talk to us about the value you see in having your audience be able to listen to your podcast wherever and whenever they, want to listen to it, for free? Yeah. And also what you see as the value for brands in having that sort of access as well?
It works for everyone, because I want it to be as accessible as possible. So it being free is a wonderfully accessible opportunity for everybody, and it's only free because we've got brands in place, and we want to work with brands to ensure that they understand our ethos, we get what they want out of it, and it is just, as you've said, a lovely ecosystem of being able to deliver beautiful, top quality content to anybody who wants to listen. And that can't be, that can't be said for the same, whether it's the festival, there's always going to be a premium you'll pay to get in or whatever. But with podcasting, it's there for everybody at any point for them to listen to. It's the most accessible way of getting really decent conversations out there. So yeah, we're again, driven constantly with Happy Place to keep delivering new conversations for new communities wanting to join what we're doing or to expand our community, and it's a brilliant way of doing it.
I love that. And, at this point, you've worked with Acast on campaigns. One of the things we do at Acast, our amazing sales team, connect brands with our podcasters, with our audiences, aligning them for, campaigns and partnerships. How do you strike a balance between, getting the brand message right, but also keeping it relevant and authentic to you and your audience?
I think it's of paramount importance that it is authentic, and that there's not some sort of big jarring situation like you've just done a podcast on an environmental issue, but then you're promoting something that, completely doesn't align with that. So it's been a really beautiful process since working with Acast that we're working with brands that have exactly the same ethos, that are playing into messaging that we're already putting out there. It feels really authentic and there's no jarring at all. That's the most sort of important thing for me, that brands we're working with in and outside of podcasting want to be in on what we're doing, and it's got to be a collaboration, I think, in that way.
And what does an ideal partnership look like for you?
I think it's someone that just understands what Happy Place is and gets the sort of foundations of it, and that it is about hopefully helping people and creating community and allowing people to come together, even if it's not their shared experience, that they're willing to listen and to learn something. I think if a brand understands the Happy Place ethos, then we're on board.
I love that. And I think, Anna and Mandy, you've probably learned a lot as you sort of embark on this journey from Fearne as well. So that was amazing. Thank you. I could literally talk to you for hours. We could literally have a podcast. I mean, we could literally... we should do one. We should be like... yeah, it would be amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, everyone,
Thank
for
you
listening.
so much.
Make sure you follow and listen to the Happy Place podcast and Sisters in the City, launching later on this year, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm going to hand over to Josh and Georgie to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was incredible from Acast, and I must say, I found Happy Place on an episode long ago with Tom O'Dell, and Fearne's exactly right. I've sort of gone back and listened to that a couple of times. It was absolutely brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for, one, bringing in some amazing talent to share with us, talking to us about conversational targeting. I mean, there's so much that you got through. What are the things that are exciting you most about next year?
Oh my gosh. Well, I know what's exciting me most, but I'm not sure how much I can say, so I'll have to pass it on.
Josh, tell us.
No.
Yeah, we've got a couple of really big signings being announced in the next few weeks. So sporting and broadcasting legends that will find the perfect home at Acast. So we're really excited about announcing that. We met one of them yesterday. We had a fun morning, wasn't it? It was really good.
Big moment for me, let me tell you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's so much, but really it continues to be about our creators and the work they continue to do. We were saying earlier today, there's probably the best podcast we've yet to hear being created right now by someone we're yet to discover. So we're so excited all the time about the new conversations, ideas and formats and creativity that's being brought to this platform, and that we can take on to our advertising partners as well. So much to look forward to. I feel lucky every day to work in this industry.
And a final word on measurement, because you touched on it, you talked about the Nielsen partnership, etc. Is it something that is still coming? I mean, we're 3 years on from the first podcast Upfront that we ran. It feels like this space has just matured so much. All of the numbers certainly suggest it. Is it still something that feels a bit tricky, or we're on the right path in terms of getting it right?
Do you know what? We've always tried to do the very best, to use the very best tools that we have available to us within this industry. And I think I speak for the entire industry when I say this. However, this pod sites integration really is groundbreaking. It's going to transform what we're able to deliver. I think, when people used to use offer codes, which is still an effective way of tracking attribution, a lot of our DR clients use offer codes to this day. Yeah. However, if you're looking at things that, it just adds a whole new layer to the likes of ad campaigns running across a much wider network of podcasts, arguably rightfully so, so you've got much more targeting opportunity, especially within the conversational targeting we mentioned. So to be able to directly link that back via accurate pixel-based attribution technology, groundbreaking.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
it
you
was
guys
a
for having us.
brilliant way
Thank
to
you.
end Upfronts. Thank you, Georgie.
Thank you,
Thank
James.
you, Josh.